Hey, it's the announcement guy. I'm here at the Interfaith Display with my friend Reverend Cynthia. Been some changes here and a little focus on prayer. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, you can visit the display now, and we have prayer examples from all the faith traditions that were up there before. So not only that, you can read the prayers in the original language, and you can take one home to practice at home.
That's good. I like that. We need more prayer in our lives, and here's what's coming up.
Today, after 10 a.m. service, is Mile High Church's annual meeting. Join us for information about how the church has done this year, where we're going in the year's future, honoring past and selecting new board members. Addressing climate change and environmental issues in Colorado with Colorado State Representative Lisa Cutter, hosted by the Sacred Earth Ministry. This Friday, August 12th at 6 p.m. in the Community Center. Next week, Superpowers of Vibrant Living await you with Barb Granica, certified personal trainer, an active aging avenger. Join Barb for an interactive discussion on physical strategies you can employ now and at any stage of your life to stay active and vibrant. For more information, visit milehighchurch.org.
All right, so we're here at the Interfaith Wall talking about prayer. I think praying for the Rockies would be good, don't you?
I think they could
I
need
think
some
it would
prayers.
be good, but things are happening. It's a great summer, and I hope that you'll stop by here on your way to the water closet and see the Interfaith display. Have a great week.
Well, thank you all for coming, and guess what? You've come on a very, very good Sunday because we have a special musical guest. Cynthia James is with us today. Many of you know Cynthia because Cynthia was a minister here for many years, and Cynthia, I say a lot, my friend Cynthia James, or whoever the guest artist is, but you are my friend, you're my family, and I love you. I'm so glad you're here, and please help me welcome Reverend Cynthia James.
Thank you. Good morning. No matter what the circumstance, no matter what the pain, I'm here to live a life of love. I got everything to gain. I was born to be a winner. I was born to be free. Born with the answer of really being me. So no matter how the pain arrives, no matter how I feel, inside of me is a light to guide the path to heal. I was born to be a winner. I was born to be free. I was born with the answer of really being me. Now I'm living in a space of a joyful dance. I do not see an end. I'm moving through this life with a smile on my face. I have no more need to pretend. No matter what relationship push me to the wall, no matter what relationship, I have an inner call. I was born to be a winner. I was born to be free. I was born with the answer of really being me. No matter what the circumstance, no matter what the pain, I'm here to live a life of love. I got everything to gain. I was born to be a winner, born to be free, born with the answer of really being me. But I need really being me. But I do not really being me. But I do not really being me.
Cynthia James, Tom Litch, Mile High Band. So grateful for all of you. Nice moving and shaking out here, audience. That was great. Good morning, Michelle.
Good morning,
Welcome
Josh.
to Mile High Church. You know, Michelle, one of my favorite definitions of the divine that Ernest Holmes gives is he says that it's infinite energy coupled with limitless creative imagination.
Love that.
Infinite energy coupled with limitless creative imagination. Why I like that so much is it speaks to the idea that imagination is up to us, that there's a divine power all around us if we're aware of it, if we're listening to it, and it's our ability to open up to the possibilities of what it can do and express in our life, in our relationships, in our work, in our world, and by being willing to just simply do that, imagine and see the potentialities around us, it manifests and demonstrates in incredible ways, as I know it has in both of our lives.
It certainly has. And it manifests that way as you bring those quotes forward. I don't know where he gets those out of his brain. They're just always
We're
there.
all just making it up as we go along.
Yeah, but wow, creative, wonderful. Well, thank you so much for being here with us today. It's a great day at Mile High Church, and it's great because you're part of it. Also, we want to acknowledge some special beings as we go forth into our service. Pause right here. We have our memorial candle that I'm going to light in just a moment. We've got some wonderful members of our ecclesiastical team who have made their transition into the next plane of existence, and we want to acknowledge them. Back in 1985, when I first started working here at Mile High Church, there was a little petite, very high energy practitioner here named Kay Spinden. And she eventually became a minister, moved to Delta, Colorado, was in service there, and she recently made her transition into the next life experience. And we love and honor and celebrate Kay and the legacy that she has left here on our hearts and in our community. I believe her daughter Janet is right here in the front. Janet Patton, we acknowledge you and thank you for continuing to bring your mother's love and heart to this beautiful community. And so we thanked Kay. Yes, we can acknowledge Kay. And recently you may have also seen the beloved Erin Hale, who's been very active here in our community, even in these past years as she's had a challenging time getting around. Whenever Erin could be here, she has been here. She's a beloved practitioner, part of our practitioner corps, and she recently passed on, and we send our love to her and all her loved ones and all of the friends who surrounded her and her practitioner, prayer partner, colleagues. And we light this candle in honor of both of these beloveds today, knowing that this light represents the light that burns bright in them and as they served in this life and in the next. And we step into that beautiful space of prayerfulness now. I invite us to go within. We're going to sing together, have some silence together, and pray together. Let us begin.
Surely the presence of God is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. I can hear the brush of angel wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence God is in this place. Surely the presence of God is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. I can hear the brush of angel wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of God is in this place.
What is prayer if not the conscious entering into sanctuary to listen to the voice of God? Perhaps not with words, but in the essence of our day-to-day lives. In quiet moments filled with emotion, or just with breath and space. In challenges and whatever it may be, we have this opportunity to enter into sanctuary at all times, to rise above any meandering, any judging, any storytelling that is in alignment with the highest truth of who we are, to say with an open heart, Spirit, I am listening. Holy divine truth, what would you have me know this day, this very moment, about the truth of who I am, about the truth of my life, about the truth of my planet and my loved ones? To enter into this prayerful consciousness isn't always easy. It takes courage. It takes discernment. It takes a willingness to change and to grow. And yet, what is more perfect or beautiful than to be touched in that place where you and I are one? That heart that we share, that one mind that propels us, that one spirit that animates all life, to rise above any limited point of view and to feel that sacred alchemical touch of divine expression, that infinite energy coupled with limitless creative imagination. How might it demonstrate in our lives today? Is there a healing to be had in this moment? Is there a moment of forgiveness and letting go of selfishness? Is there simply a willingness to step into the unknown, willing to be more happy, more uplifted, more prosperous in this incredible thing called life? I'm so grateful for this mile-high consciousness that we cultivate together. I know it not only blesses us, but it blesses everyone we love and everyone around us. And I know it uplifts this service and uplifts our lives in so many ways this week. For this, I am so very grateful. And so it is.
Be not dismayed. Whatever tide, God will take care of you. Beneath love's wings, the Spirit abides. God will take care of you. God will take care of you through every day, in every way. God will take care of you. God will take care of you. No matter what may be the test, God will take care of you. Lean on the truth and find your rest. God will take care of you. God will take care of you. care of you. Kuan Yin takes care of you. Jesus takes care of you. Spirit takes care of you. God will take care of you.
Our words of inspiration today come from Kurt Vonnegut. I want to stay as close to the edge as I can without going over. Out on the edge, you see all kinds of things you can't see from the center. Big, undreamed of things. The people on the edge see them first. And from Marianne Williamson, the desire to serve God creates the means by which we do so. Our power doesn't lie in our resume or our connections. Our power doesn't lie in what we've done or even what we're doing. Our power lies in our clarity about why we're on the earth.
Stop. Pause. Look. Listen. Stop. Pause. Look. Listen. Stop the chaos. Pause the conversations. Look inside and listen. Stop the chaos, pause the conversations, look inside and listen. There's nothing outside to stop your freedom, nothing outside to halt your destiny, nothing outside to limit your expression. There's nothing outside of you. So stop, wanna sing with me? Pause. Look. Listen. Okay, let's do it again. Stop. Pause. Look. Listen. Stop the fighting. Pause your judgments. Look inside and listen to your heart. Stop the fighting. Pause your judgments. Look inside and listen to your heart. All that you need's on the inside. So open your heart and mind. There's a world waiting for you. All you need to do is start. Stop. Pause. Look. Listen. Stop. Pause. Look. Listen. Time to take a leap. To step out into the fullness of who you came here to be. To stand in the truth of your life. To be powerful, dynamic, and mighty. Because there's nothing in the way. So step up. Step out. The world is waiting for you. Stop. Pause. Look. Listen. Stop. Pause. Look. Listen. Stop the fighting. Pause your judgment. Look inside and listen to your heart. Stop the fighting. Pause those judgments. Look inside and listen to your heart. Nothing outside to push you. Nothing outside to rescue your soul. Nothing outside inside to heal the wound. There's nothing outside of you. So stop, pause, yeah, yeah, yeah. Look, oh, listen, yeah, stop.
Reverend Cynthia James! Woo! Yeah! And our wonderful band today, led by our music director Tom Litch, Kent Radstrauss, Rob Lowe, Mike Marlier, and Bijou Barbosa. Love you guys. Woo! Wow. The only downside to that is that Cynthia just basically gave my whole talk. Darn. I'll overcome somehow, however. I'm starting a 2-week series today titled The Great How-Tos. I used to have a marketing director in my center in Phoenix that would say, Michelle, we got to do more talks and blogs and things on how-to. People really like how-tos. They want to know how to do things. And so for a while we did that. So I've been experimenting lately with messages that have to do with how-to. And so these 2 weeks we're going to really look at 2 different how-tos. Next week we're going to look at how to really make a difference in the world. And today we're looking at how to get it when you don't really get it, when you just don't get it. How to get it. Now, what is it that I'm talking about? What is the it that I'm talking about? The it that I'm talking about is insight. It's pattern or interrupt. It's the ability to move forward in a certain direction that I might want to move forward in my life. It's the ability to comprehend, understand, deepen my awareness, to be victorious in the directions that I might want to go in my life experience. It's the ability to get it and to feel as though I've got wisdom, I've got energy, I've got enthusiasm, that I can manifest the things that I want to manifest in my life. And I believe that everything in our teaching is all about how to get it. But I'm also really aware in our collective experience and in my own personal life that these past few years, well, Reverend Simon said last week that we're in unprecedented times, and he said, and I agree with him, almost every generation would say that, and I think that most of us would say these are, for us, unprecedented times, when we've got so much that has occurred because of a pandemic. We've got so much that's occurred in politics, not only in our country, but all over the world. So much that continues to occur in terms of the violence that we're seeing occurring on our planet, and so much that's occurring in our own personal lives. That from a global standpoint, we may look out at other people, at other things going on, and say, I just don't get it. I don't get it why those people do that. I don't get it why we can't get along. For gosh sakes, it's 2022. Can't we all get along better with each other, right? We can't get it. We don't get it. I know sometimes I don't understand it. I don't understand the continued persistence in some of these areas that my own human judgment would say, we should be over this by now. But I do the same thing to myself and my own personal life. Think, well, in those places where I'm still working out things and imperfect, I should get it. I should have gotten it by now. I should have figured it out. But the journey of the human experience, I think, is this constant invitation to move forward and move past those places where we might get a little stuck. So today is really how to get beyond where we might feel stuck. I can say we're having our annual meeting today at 11:30, right after this service over in the Vote Auditorium, and we're going to talk about the state of our church and the finances and the things and ideas we have for ourselves in the future. And I have been working now for a church since 1985, so that's almost 40 years ago that I was hired to start working here. I have been in the church business ever since then. That's all that I've known. And when I look at what is going on in the world in terms of spiritual community, I know that a few times I've felt, I don't get it. Something that I got for 40 years, so clearly I knew, well, if we do this, Learn from the best. Dr. Roger's here today. I learned from him, and Dr. Fred, and Dr. Kathy, and Dr. Marjorie. Learn from the best. But I'm puzzled sometimes today with how do we do church in this environment in a way that serves people? And so I fall into, I just don't get it sometimes. I don't understand it. And so I have to apply what I'm here to talk about today to help myself break through that self-imposed limitation that is inviting a new possibility for myself and all of us to be creative, to burst through those senses of limitation or lack or even confusion into a greater and higher state of being. So when I first started contemplating this about 6 or 8 weeks ago, I began to notice that when I would approach these areas, any area, where I feel like I just don't get it, I noticed that I had a certain body stance a lot of times. I would think about something I don't get, and I could feel my shoulders kind of slouching, could feel my arms kind of doing this, could feel that intensity. Sometimes when I look at you all and someone's sitting out there as I'm talking, and I began to wonder, well, when I do that, I don't think it's helping. It doesn't help me get past my feelings at all. It doesn't help me get it at all. And I began to wonder about this notion in spirituality of prayer poses and how throughout many traditions, people use poses or certain ways of sitting when they pray because of not wanting to shake hands and hug so much. We all have done this one a lot lately, right? The prayer hands and the bowing. Sometimes when people pray, they pray like this. Sometimes they hold a certain stance or sit up a certain way. There's certain mudras and in other traditions that one can hold their hands in to bring forth knowledge and awareness. There's a belief, a mental equivalent of that. And even some people who believe that prayer is most effective when on our knees or down on the ground in a certain posture in certain traditions. So there's something to that. And so I began to research, is there a biochemical connection to how we literally hold our bodies at certain times and what happens inside of our thoughts? Is it that our bodies influence our thoughts or our thoughts influence our bodies, or maybe it's both? And so I began to discover that there is some research, and that this research has been most profoundly expressed in my mind through a woman named Amy Cuddy. She's a social psychologist, best-selling author, award-winning Harvard lecturer, and keynote speaker. My husband and I are taking a meditation class right now, and our teacher in the meditation class mentioned Amy Cuddy and mentioned postures. And so I watched her TED Talk, Amy's TED Talk. And Amy talks about, as a social scientist, of course, they study body language. And we're all pretty familiar with watching each other's body language and the art of that. And that when someone is speaking with us, that we can kind of assess how they might be feeling because of their body language. Salespeople are taught to take on a certain body language to be more effective. We as speakers are taught to take on a certain body language to be more effective and communicative of our ideas. And that when we're in personal relationships and we're having a conversation with somebody and they're doing that, we can often feel like they're not getting it. And so of course they study that. But she said, that's all about your body language to certain audiences. But the reality that they've discovered is that the big audience that matters most is that our body language tells our inner being how to be and does have a biochemical reaction. And at Harvard, they proved this recently. They brought a bunch of people in and had them come in and do an experiment, because what the researchers began to notice is that with photos that go back into human existence as long as we've been doing photography, and even with some artwork that's been done, when humans are triumphant in something, think about it, a sports person who runs across that finish line, what do they often do? Right? This smile and their hands go up in the air. There's this triumphant pose. They don't run across the finish line and go, whatever. And that body pose goes with them often as they're in that act, and there's a strong biochemical reaction. So Harvard wanted to prove this. So with these people who came in, some of them, they gave them a strong body pose. And they found that one of the strongest body poses is this. Legs just kind of under your hips. They call this the Wonder Woman pose. I've been practicing it all morning. There is this one, of course. There's this one. There's all sorts of poses that can help us feel stronger. But what they discovered is they would bring these subjects in and they'd have them take a power pose for 2 minutes. Just take a power pose for 2 minutes. Just stand in that. A lot of other superheroes stand like this too. We were talking about it backstage between services. I wish I could do the Black Widow. She comes in and she goes, wait, I'm not limber enough and I don't want to flatten my hair. She does her hair like this, and Wonder Woman's fine for me. So they would have them take these power poses, and they would before they would take the power pose, they would test their saliva for certain chemistry, and then after they would test their saliva, and the subjects who did not take on a power pose just stood however they wanted, they tested them too. 2 minutes after the power pose, they noticed, the other thing they did is they would have them gamble right after taking their pose. And what she said is the people who did power poses were more willing to risk a little bit, 86% higher than those who had not taken the power pose, which is interesting. But the real interesting thing to me is that they tested testosterone. And those who took a power pose, their testosterone raised 20% higher than it had been before they came in. Testosterone is the hormone that when fired off, we're more assertive, we're more go get it, we have more energy, we're gonna solve this problem kind of energy. And those who took the power pose had a 25% decrease in cortisol, and cortisol is the stress-producing hormone, versus the other people. Their stress went down and their energy went up. And he said this is a clear indication that how we hold our body, when we're thinking about a problem or when we're moving through our life, if we're wanting to be triumphant, we're wanting to think outside the box, we're wanting to have a new experience, she literally says our bodies change our minds and our minds change our behavior and our behavior changes outcomes. That when we're contemplating our problems and challenges, we have to consider our posture. We have to consider how we're standing, literally, and that she would suggest take on a power pose for 2 minutes and then think about your problem. So I'm inviting us today to really consider that, first of all, as a holistic way to bring about change and transformation when we feel stuck. And then to consider these steps, which probably will sound very familiar. The first one is step in to the challenge, being non-resistant. What I notice about myself sometimes is that when I have worked on a problem, I have been trying to find a solution, I've pushed myself to that place, I can become so resistant that I'm kind of like a little child. And people can say, well, have you tried this? No, that'll never work. Well, would you do this? I tried that before and I failed. Well, would you do this? Well, no, they probably wouldn't let me do that. Or if I said this, then he'd say that, and then they'd say that, and then I'm not the only one, am I? Please tell me. But it's like we're kind of like these children at times because our resistance to solutions have been elusive, and we can get grumpy about it and frustrated about it. And so if I take on a power pose and I start to think, okay, I'm going to be less resistant. What do I need to do to be less resistant to solution? I have some specific questions that I ask myself. The first one is, what if I was willing to give up all previous efforts and be here now with the issue exactly as it is? To me, that's about just getting present. Being in the midst of it and striking a pose. Being in the midst of it. Yep, this is how it is. Because our resistance is a part of us trying to push it away. push away solution, push away possibility, push away openness. Whereas non-resistance is openness to, yep, this is how it is right now. I'm going to look right at it. And the second question, which I think is very important, is what if this area I'm feeling challenged about is an area of some of my greatest genius? It has been mind-boggling at times for me to ask myself, in areas where I've struggled the most, where things haven't gone the way I wanted them to go, where I've been searching for a solution or looking for a creative possibility, to say, how is this situation something that I am really good at, that is my genius? How can I bring my genius to bear? Or how is it, I sometimes think that part of our resistance is that the problem that persists, whether it's our judgment or our feeling of not being able to solve something or a lack of creativity or a lack of resolution in a relationship, can make us feel unworthy. I just must not be good enough to solve this problem. I just must not be good enough to get the solution. God must be punishing me. The universe is withholding from me. I'm never going to get through it. Whereas to consider, what if this is something I'm actually really good at and I just haven't been bringing my genius to this situation? Opens me up to possibility. So surrendering resistance. The next one is that I'm 100% sure that to get from where we are to where we want to be demands that we give up our comfort zones. Because sometimes it can be very comfy and cozy to stay where we are and complain about it, right? And yet yearn for better solutions, better possibilities, better ideas, better experience. And it requires us to be willing to step out of where we're comfortable into something new, which means risk, taking risks. Years ago, when I was in my late 20s, I made a decision. I'd been dating and I made a decision. I think I'm ready for a long-term relationship. And I knew that what I had been doing was likely not going to get me where I wanted to go because it hadn't gotten me there so far. So I asked myself, what do I need to do differently? This was in ancient times before we had the internet. And so I couldn't go do online dating. But what I did is I placed an ad in a singles pamphlet in Huntington Beach, California, to try to find, and the first line had to be, I am a minister, because that just kicks you right out of the, Anyway, I had to do that. And so I felt myself stepping out of my comfort zone. And I had a few dates and met a few really nice people. But what I felt with it, I did not ultimately meet the person I married through that method. But it opened me up, and out in a place where I least expected it, I met somebody and ended up getting married. And what I learned about that is that to have a new experience, I've got to be willing to do something I've never done before. To think outside of my box, outside of my comfort zone, and let the creative energy and life of me have its way with me. And sometimes I think that we have to also embrace, in terms of this comfort zone, that there is a part of us that really does know what it is that we could be doing, should be doing, and we're just pretending not to know. We're just kind of setting it aside. We know. Tony Robbins says, it's not knowing what to do, it's doing what you know. Sometimes that's true. Letting myself say, okay, I know what I need to do. It's just about, I got to do it. I got to take these steps. I got to have that conversation. I've got to do that thing. I've got to take that risk. And moving forward. And the last one is to be embraced by our wisdom. Our teaching talks about the oneness that connects all of life and connects all of us. And in that oneness, it means that we have deep access to all the wisdom there is. I believe that everything that you and I want to be, want to accomplish, want to see occur in our lives and in the world is happening somewhere. If it's happening anywhere, it's happening everywhere. And therefore, the solutions that we seek are available to us through our inner life often. That encouragement, that creative idea. Meditation and prayer is not just a crisis management tool. It's not just something I do to be a better person. It's something that I can do to problem solve, to help myself get past that line that thinks that it doesn't know what to do. And to do it anyway, to listen to that inner voice that says, here's an idea. Here's a possibility. It comes through the voice that God is as me. It comes through the voice of the infinite that connects all life. It is our universal help system. It is the creative force that calls to us and invites us out of our resistance, out of our comfort zones and into greater wisdom. I have this other thing that I do besides all of this that's a magic process that I have called the Creative Whack Pack. And he wrote a man named Ron Van Etch wrote a book called A Whack on the Side of the Head. And it's an invitation to think outside of the box. And I try to do this from the inner life that I am. And one of the ways that I can merge these two sometimes is that he has this creative whack pack that I can pull a card from. Don't tell Barry I'm using my phone. Is he gone? Yeah, he's gone. Okay. So there's an app now for it. And so I want to, as we come to the conclusion of this message today, I want to invite us to use this right here and right now in a practical way. Think about a problem that you've been trying to solve. Be open, take a deep breath and be open to that inner presence. Strike a pose that's open and available. And just be aware. And I'm going to randomly let the app give us a whack. Okay, so the whack is learn from mistakes. See if this applies. One thing that whacks our thinking is failure. It jolts us out of our routines and forces us to look for fresh approaches. Errors serve a useful purpose. They tell us when to change direction. When things go smoothly, we generally don't think about them. Often it's only when things or people fail to do their job that they get our attention. Negative feedback means that the current approach isn't working, and it's time to find a new one. We learn by trial and error, not by trial and rightness. Ooh, that's a good one. So he goes on for a little bit, gives examples, but here are the questions that come with this one. What is the biggest mistake you might make in your current issue? What might you learn from it? What mistakes from your past can you apply to your current situation? I think he was listening to my talk today. That was pretty good. I use this as my inner and outer world can come together and invite me into the greatest creativity possible, to move past my own self-imposed limitations, resistances, unwillingness to move off of my position or off of my rightness or fear of making mistakes. An invitation to listen to that inner voice, to allow people and things like the creative whack pack to influence me to see things differently. I will go to people and ask them to help me brainstorm. I will go to people and mentors and ask for support. There's a willingness to surrender our pride and be open to the infinite that is always working on our behalf. I wanted to bring a story today of somebody who'd done this very powerfully, who had felt called in a way that caused them to have to take risks and move forward. And I did a lot of research on a lot of different people. And then one day, as I was in prayer about it, I saw the beautiful face of Cynthia James. And I went, oh, she's going to be here that Sunday singing a song or 2 or 3 or 4, bringing her brand new music. Isn't her new music amazing? It's just wonderful. And I was really aware that I got to be here with her on the ministerial team as she felt the call to step away from this beautiful, safe, amazing community and be called out into the world. So I'd like to invite Reverend Cynthia to come out and be the living embodiment of our story today. Cynthia, please join me. It's kind of like one of those sharer moments we've had over the years. So thank you so much for being here today, beloved one.
I love you.
I love you. Tell us a little bit about how it felt for you as you were here in this beautiful place, so loved and so embraced by this teaching and by the ministers and all the beings here, and then you felt this internal call that said, it's time to do something different. How did you have the courage to listen to that call and step out of your comfort zone?
Well, the first thing I want to say is I was clueless.
Yes, yes.
And it was scary.
It was, yeah.
I mean, it was like, I'm happy here. I manifested this. This is my dream place. And Spirit was like, no, move. You have to go. And so listening was stepping out in places and in ways that I knew not of.
Mm-hmm. Did you have any moments as you were hearing that voice where you were resistant, where you went, I don't wanna.
Totally.
Yeah. True confessions here.
Yes, because it made no sense.
Right.
It wasn't, when that inner voice talks, it's not rational.
Yeah, sometimes.
Or linear. It just says go.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And so what tools allowed you most, or what environments allowed you most to eventually be a yes for that? How did you move yourself through? I'm sure it was a very deep inner process, but what most supported you?
A lot of prayer, a lot of meditation, a lot of journaling.
Yes.
And I actually got a mentor to help me, to
Good.
support me moving, because I didn't know what I didn't know. And so I just had to keep saying yes to the invitations and to the things that were coming through. It was an exquisite journey, actually.
And in looking back, one thing you said at the first service is you also used a bit of hindsight to help you move forward.
Oh, yeah. God has never let me down.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I've fallen.
Sure.
But I've gotten, and it's always taken me the next step and the next step. So then why wouldn't that be the same for my future?
Right. Yes. Hindsight gives you that foresight to be in faith. Wonderful. Well, you are a beautiful inspiration. We're so happy and we're so proud of you being out in the world, being a representation of this teaching, a powerful woman who is doing her work. Thank you so much. So as we complete this time, I'm going to invite us to step into prayer. And you're going to hear later that I thought about inviting people to strike a pose during the message, but I thought that might be a little disruptive. So I wore this beautiful pin today that Christy gave me, who works in our bookstore, and I love it as a reminder to strike a pose. So today during the peace song, through the whole peace song, rather than holding hands, we're going to strike a pose. All right? Later on, when you stand up. I'll remind you again, but for now, those who are going to stand and strike a pose are our practitioner prayer partners. I invite them to join me as we step into this beautiful moment of prayer, this container of love and light. I celebrate the awareness of the divine and invite each one of us to feel that place within us, or those places within us that we may have felt that stuckness that we've been talking about, that call from the divine to step across a line and experience resolution, peace, the fulfillment of a dream or a desire or a goal, to step across that line and experience greater love in a relationship or manifest some good that we've been working towards. To feel the part of us that at times wonders if we're ever going to get it so that we can experience it. And I know that as we stand in this prayerful place together, that the wisdom of our own beingness that is brought forth by that infinite light that lives within us, that love that is the truth of us, that eternal, limitless help system that has creative ideas and possibilities, that presence that lifts us up and carries us forward at every moment of our journey is right here, right now, expressing itself through all of creation. It doesn't express a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit here. It expresses all of itself everywhere, in everything and everyone. And so in this moment of prayerfulness, we allow ourselves to feel the invitation of the divine calling us forward through this place that up until now we may have thought was a stopping point or a limiting point or a point of no return. And we feel ourselves energetically moving through it, feeling the triumph of our arms going up into the air, our hearts opening with that triumphant nature that says, oh, yes. That the solutions and the relationships and the possibilities and the conditions and the mentors and the ideas that are necessary to most support us individually and collectively in moving through are right here, right now. We are connected to them. We are them. We are connected to the infinite. The infinite is connected to us, and we choose to allow ourselves to be transformed by the renewing of our mind, our heart, our beingness right here and right now, and be pulled forward into our greater yet to be. We say yes to that. And we just give thanks. Glorious thanks for this truth that is now made manifest in, through, and as us. As we surrender this prayer into the action of that universal law, it is done, we let it be, and we let it go. And so it is. Amen.
Thank you, God, for everything. 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 Oh, thank you, God, for everything. Thank you, God, for everything.
Thank you, Tom. And thank you all for your beautiful presence here today. As I mentioned earlier, our annual meeting will be right after the service at 11:30 over in the Vote Center Auditorium. We invite all of you to be in attendance. Anyone who'd like to be there is welcome. Our members will vote on new board members joining our Board of Trustees. So it's a wonderful time. I'd like to give thanks because we have been blessed by a wonderful group of members serving on our board this past year or two, being so present, so supportive, and so loving on behalf of our whole church. So I'd like to invite any board members who are here to please stand so we can acknowledge you. I see you, Dan, back there. See you. Hi, Barb. Hi, Lynn. Congratulations. Thank you so much. Carol Swanson, our president. We are so blessed. Thank you to our board members, and we hope you'll be there with us today. And part of what we've been able to do is to continue to move forward, continue to thrive, and continue to be of support to all of our members, those of you watching online from all over the world. We're so grateful for you. And we invite you now into that partnership of giving through tithes and offerings. And as we give, that pose that we take often is to put our hands to our hearts and to say our affirmation together. So please say with me, divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, and all that I circulate. And so it is.
Lift up thine eyes, people, on light of love. Stop, look, and listen, people, not without or even up above. There is nothing stopping you going all the way. Tap into the space within for you today. Lift up, come on. Lift up, lift up, lift up, lift up, lift up, lift up. In no times of darkness, confusion clouds away. Don't know which way to go. Find the light of day. There is an energy, power deep within. Take the time to listen to what's always been. Lift up thy hearts, people. Time to bring the light of love. Stop, look, and listen, people. Not without or even up above. See, there is nothing stopping you from going all the way. Tap into the space within all you today. Lift up, come on. Lift up, lift up, lift up your hearts and sing. Don't you know that's everything? Lift up, lift up, lift your hearts and sing, 'cause that is everything. Come on, lift up, lift up, lift up. Thank you, everybody. Love you.
Cynthia James, how about that? How about that, huh? Yeah. And Cynthia has a brand new recording, CD, and she'll be out in the lobby to talk to everybody. It's so great to have her back, isn't it? Yeah. That's a cool thing. So if you are new to our community, haven't been here before, welcome. We're so glad that you're here, and hope you'll come back many times and check us out. And if an affirmative prayer calls to you today, our practitioners are coming down front, and they're available for that, and spend a little time with you. So do that too. And how'd you like a microphone so you could talk a little bit? People could hear you. Okay.
I was telling him earlier, it's kind of like, you remember when you used to not think about it like sharing a toothbrush? Now it's kind of odd sharing the microphone, but it's so good to see everyone. Hey, online today, if you're interested in learning more about our Practitioner Studies program, Reverend Michelle Medrano is hosting on Zoom. You can find that through our website. We have stuff at Mile High, just like you have stuff at your house, and we're willing to get rid of that stuff for any sort of reasonable offer. And so we're having kind of a rummage sale today out there in the community center. You can check that out. And lastly, Wednesday Night Insight, kind of an online Wednesday program that we're filling the void of not having an in-person service on for a while. It's on Facebook and YouTube. It premieres every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Check it out. Back to you, Michelle.
Some bear or something got your back. You got a big handprint on your back. It was a Nancy hand. So we're going to stand together, not hold hands, and take a powerful prayer pose, and hold that pose while we sing the peace song together. And as we go forth, we do so in love and light and power and joy. We are so blessed. Thank you, life. And so it is.
Let be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as our power, family on our way. Let us walk with each other